Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Klaas. I am the Director of Employer Services at the Workers' Compensation Board. I will begin today's WCB 101 session with an overview of our employer services. So I'll walk you through how to make your WCB employer account work for you by sharing some high-level information regarding an employer's journey with WCB. I will highlight the employer services offered and touch on some of the feedback we've heard from you, the customer, as well as share an overview of our employer transformation efforts. An employer starts their journey with WCB when they register their business. Employers in mandatory industry are required to register for an account within 30 days of a worker starting. This includes full-time, part-time, casual, or contract workers. All workers in a mandatory coverage industry are automatically covered, and there are voluntary coverage options available for some industries and occupations that are not mandatory. Great example of this one would be our farming industry. There are also voluntary options for sole proprietors, partners, and directors that are not carried on payroll. One of the principles of WCB is exclusive jurisdiction. This means that the rules of the province where work is performed will supersede the rules of an out-of-province employer's home base. Businesses that meet the frequency or duration criteria of our out-of-province employer coverage policy and operate in a mandatory industry are subject to the same rules as a Saskatchewan-based employer. Once an employer is registered, there are some key responsibilities to keep in mind. You must report your annual payroll and contractor wages by February 28th each year. You must obtain clearances and letters of good standing. You must pay your annual premiums on time. And you must report injuries to the WCB within 5 days of being advised of the injury, and you must provide a safe workplace. So the last two responsibilities lead an employer journey into the hands of our operations and prevention departments, which my colleagues will touch on later this session. Today, I will touch on the first three responsibilities. Every employer who has an existing WCB employer account with our office is required to complete and submit their employer payroll statement, or EPS. The EPS is sent to employers annually in January and needs to be returned by February 28th. We offer filing options via online services, fast file, fax, email, or mail. This year, over 95% of employers filed their EPS online. The EPS is our annual reconciliation between estimated and actual wages paid in the previous calendar year and the estimate for current year. On your EPS, you must report actual gross payroll earnings for the previous calendar year, an estimate for the current year, and both of these figures are subject to a maximum assessable rate that's set each year. You must also report all contractors hired in the previous calendar year and confirm optional personal coverage if it's applicable. Most of the work for reporting contractors on the EPS has already been done by obtaining clearances throughout the year. If you obtain clearances for all payments made to the contract for work in a calendar year, when you receive your EPS, all you need to do is confirm that the amounts are correct. Any contractors that you do not obtain clearances for, or whose amount varies from the EPS, you should be reporting in that applicable section. Payroll estimates should be kept accurate throughout the year, and revisions can be made at any time, but must be done prior to December 31st to avoid any underestimate penalties. Revisions can be done online through fax, email, or mail. If a business fails to submit an EPS, they'll be subject to an arbitrary assessment, and that'll include any cancellation of optional personal coverage and may exclude you from any experience rate discounts. Filing your EPS online can be done through your online services account. However, if you do not have an account, you still can file using FastFile. This is a great option if you have third parties, such as an accountant, submit your payroll reports for you. It gives them access to submit on your behalf, but does not give them full access to your full online account. Some of the most common reporting errors that we find throughout this process is calculating the actual assessable earnings of what's considered assessable, not taking the max assessable wage rate into account for each individual, and reporting contractors is often missed, as most of you aren't clear on what contractors are. So some of the improvement initiatives that I'm going to touch on later will focus on how to assist employers through this process and using the online account features to their advantage. As I mentioned, you're required to report your contractors on the annual EPS. But what do we mean by principal and contractor? The principal in the relationship is the one who'd be paying the contractor. The contractor is the one who is paid by the principal and to provide a service. A contractor is basically anyone who is not carried on your payroll. A non-registered contractor for the purposes of WCB are considered to be the principal's worker. A principal who hires a non-registered contractor will be responsible for paying premiums on the labor portion of the contract. Anytime a firm hires a contractor, the contractor must be reported to WCB regardless of if the contractor has their own WCB account. The Workers' Compensation Act requires a principal to confirm whether or not the contractor has their own coverage and requires the principal to ensure that any amount the contractor is due in order to contribute to the injury fund to make sure it's paid. To help fulfill these requirements, we have the letter of good standing and the clearance letter. The purposes of clearances and letters of good standing is to ensure that everyone carries their fair share of assessment premiums. Both can be requested by either the principal or the contractor. A letter of good standing confirms the status of the contractor, if they're registered or not, if they're in good standing or not, and should be obtained before a contractor sets foot on your work site. A letter of good standing does not take the place of a clearance. A clearance letter will state the current status of the contractor and must be obtained before making payment to the contractor. A clearance must be obtained before payment is made and authorizes this payment that it can be made. A clearance protects the principal from having to pay any overdue premiums the contractor may owe. Another employer responsibility is to ensure that payments are made on time. Premiums are generally due within 30 days of the billing date on the statement of account you receive. However, your first payment for the current year might be due April 1st if our assessment is completed before February 28th. If premiums for the current year are more than $125, second installment is due by September 1st. Making your payment on time ensures that there are no delays with clearances on work you have performed for other principals. We have a variety of ways that you can pay your bill: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Visa Debit, and MasterCard Express. Online accounts will get posted the next business day, and they can be made without an online services account. But I do want to highlight that it is an additional benefit. Through an online account, you can also sign up for our e-bill feature, and this means that you'll never miss a payment and you will get notifications when a new bill is on your account. WCB Online Account gives you access to self-serve through a user-friendly and secure website. It's a great tool to help you in fulfilling some of the employer responsibilities that have been highlighted. So once you've logged into your WCB account, you can submit your EPS. You can revise your payroll at any time. You can view your statements of account and pay your premiums. You can access reports that I didn't touch on here today, but looking at your experience rate statement and any injury cost information that you may be interested in. You can obtain clearances, letters of good standing. You can register any new businesses that come up or give us updates on your account, such as sales, closures, or any other pertinent information on your account that needs to be updated. You can submit an appeal if you so wish. You can review forms that have been submitted, and you can report a work injury if that occurs. We understand that employers may require support to navigating the workers' compensation system. The Employer Resource Center is your point of contact to answer questions, provide support materials, and connect you with the right person at the WCB. The Employer Resource Center is intended to be a resource for employers who are not sure who to call or where to start with their questions related to WCB can call or email to get some answers. The Employer Resource Center will offer advice and support in regards to facilitating understanding and resolving customer service issues. While the Employer Resource Center will facilitate return to work, provide information on fair practice office and appeals information, it will not advocate on behalf of employers to resolve disputes about claims. Employers have told us our processes do not always meet their needs and expectations. Over half our customers have shared that they prefer an active or engaged relationship with WCB and would like assistance with more complicated matters. Our antiquated system has led to inefficiencies in our processes, and this has led to delays and frustrations for our customers. So in 2021, Employer Services has developed a target operating model, which is a vision of how we will deliver value to our customers in the future and serves as a guiding framework for our transformation. There's 6 key foundational pieces to this. It's to ensure our people have the skills and capabilities to support the customer in our processes. It'll ensure our processes are defined and efficient. It'll define how services are delivered across WCB, not just in employer services. It'll enable technology and tools to support our processes, such as online services. It'll ensure we have the right information in order to make better decisions and more timely decisions, and also a structure that maintains the processes and accuracy. In the fall of 2021, Employer Services reviewed all of our core processes as well as our supporting processes. This resulted in some requirements or capabilities that will be used in the development of a future technology platform, but it also helped us identify some improvement opportunities for our customers. We also conducted a survey to our customers in December of 2021, asking employers for feedback on some of our key processes to see where they felt improvements to our system could occur. All of this information gathered in 2021 has led us into 2022, where we're currently planning and prioritizing these improvement opportunities identified through both the process reviews and feedback from the customers. Some examples of these improvements are improving our online services. Customers have voiced that they would like access to claim information through the online services, and some other expanded self-serve options. We'll also look to, because the reporting of the annual EPS impacts all employers, we'll look to improve some supports on how we can guide our employers through that and make it easier. And also faster and easier access to clearances and letters of good standing are just some of the key features we're going to focus on in 2022. Over half our customers also surveyed, over half of our employers surveyed also reported that they'd like some extra support on complicated things, and very few employers have comprehensive safety-related resources and operational supports available in-house, and look to WCB for support in these areas. To hear more about our safety-related resources that WCB offers, I will pass it on to Annette from our prevention department.